Left is offering up more sick rationalizations for the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, a father of two. Liberal filmmaker Michael Moore says he wants to pour gasoline on anger toward health insurance companies. And that socialist power couple, AOC and Bernie Sanders, are also making excuses for the suspected killer.
This is not to say that an act of violence is justified, but I think for anyone who is confused or shocked or appalled, they need to understand that people interpret and feel and experience denied claims as an act of violence against them.
Murder is murder, and it is totally unacceptable. But I think the outpouring that we have seen indicates that there's a lot of frustration and anger at a healthcare industry.
Martha, we have lived through this so many times. Hillary Care in 1993, Obamacare in 2010. PolitiFact noted in 2013, the biggest lie of the year was you can keep your plan, keep your doctor. And it had been repeated dozens of times. And then there was an unusual apology because it wasn't true. Our healthcare system's a mess. 13 and a half years after Obamacare passed, basically 28 million have no health insurance. But how do we accept people in the House and the Senate kind of broadcasting that it's okay to be so angry that one person would be driven to murder someone because he's the CEO of a healthcare system?
A couple of things. In a way, it reminds me of the other really tragic story that we covered today about the Duke lacrosse players, right?
Yes.
So something happens, there's blame assigned, everybody jumps in with both feet, vilifying, in that case, the players. And that's what you have now. It's like a taste, this little nibble of like, oh my gosh, Michael Moore, I'm gonna pour gasoline on it, right? I think that what we see here, he wasn't a customer, Luigi Mangione, of United Healthcare. The whole issue of any connection to what happened to him in the beginning, it was like, well, maybe something happened to a family member that was devastating for him. Maybe that comes out, but so far we don't know. There's no evidence of that. So the gripe is unclear. He was obviously disturbed by, corporate America and capitalism in a broad sense. But why he targeted this man, Brian Thompson, let's say his name, who now has, his children have lost a father. I want to give Charlemagne the God credit because I think he's a great voice of reason these days. He is the opposite of Michael Moore. I think that Michael Moore's brand of outrage is done. And I think that you listen to Charlemagne the God, he said, I look at that video and you know what I see? I see a father walking down the street who will never go home again. That's what this story is. So don't pour all of your anger onto it about something else until we know more. And as Charlemagne the God also said, it's weird where we are as people. And I think it's great to be a voice who says, just hold on a second, take a breath. This young man was obviously extremely disturbed, Luigi Mangione. We don't know why he snapped. Let's just watch this.
But let's go with what we do know, Jessica. We know that people like Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, two United States senators, AOC, a sitting congresswoman representing New York City. The man was murdered blocks away from here in New York City. They seem to lack this empathy and compassion for what happened to him. They stop short of saying, gee, he deserved it, but they want to justify it by saying what leads to that level of anger. So first of all, are you comfortable with that as a Democrat? But secondly, why someone like Luigi Mangione, who has 2 degrees from an Ivy League school, is a Nepo grandbaby, comes from a very wealthy family, why isn't he using that for good? He's obviously a very intelligent person. Why isn't he using that for good? Why don't you go and try to reform the system from the inside out rather than shooting a man dead?
So first of all, I'm extremely uncomfortable with people in my party speaking like this. And if you're talking about the murder of an innocent and then the word but comes anywhere in the sentence, you've lost the plot and everybody has turned off. And there was finally some polling about the murder of Brian Thompson and opinions of Luigi Mangione. Only 19% of Americans have a favorable view of him. There is an outsized influence that social media and the memes and all of this has on it. I don't think the average person who you would pull aside on the street out there is going to say, oh, I'm on Luigi's side. It exists, but it isn't the mainstream view. So not comfortable with it. Secondly, to Martha's point, we don't know what happened to him. From all the people who have spoken about him, it seems like he was an incredibly thoughtful, smart, reasoned guy. And something changed 6 months ago when he basically disappeared. And I don't know why, as a mother, it took up until November 18th for her to report him missing. I don't know why there's weird language being used about the technology that they used to be able to track him. Jessica Tisch, the commissioner here, said we used some new age technology, but didn't say what it was. Maybe San Francisco had information days before about him that they weren't sharing. You have to make this kind of stuff public if you do have folks that are idolizing him, or even it's a story that has captivated the national consciousness at this point, and we deserve to know.
Well, the justice system will take care of him. The other fact that we know is that he's been arrested for murder, no bail, a lot of evidence against him. Jesse, there are people not named Luigi Mangione who are glorifying Luigi Mangione. I watch your show every night. I see you and Johnny pulling up a lot of this research, people saying why they think he's hot, why they're intrigued with him.
Kellyanne, imagine
crazy.
if a conservative young man had killed the CEO of Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
And conservatives were like, well, murder's wrong, but, and he's really hot.
Yeah.
That would never fly. It would never fly in a million years. Now, how do I know this guy Luigi is a liberal? Because he lived in a commune in Hawaii. And then he went to travel by himself to Japan to relax. Now, at that age, if I went to Japan to relax in my 20s, my parents would kill me. I was supposed to have a job.
Yes.
To work. And he was relaxing in Japan. Now, the Democrats can't complain about health care because they just had all the power in the world the last 4 years. They did nothing about health care. Then, under Obama, they had 8 years. What they did didn't work. So 12 out of the last 16 years, the Democrats have been in power, and they're still complaining about health care? You don't get to complain about health care. Now, this is what I would do. Part of this is about Make America Healthy Again. You know, if you go in there and you root out some of the corruption in the health insurance industry, that's a start. And then if you make yourself healthy again, and you don't need to go to the doctor so much, and you don't need all this expensive medical coverage, then that's going to bring down costs. Doge, Jessica, that's the word. So you don't need all of these entitlement spending programs.